Mm. Oh, hey, bitch. JamiThatsMe here. Welcome back. Listen, it's time for us to get into Real Housewives of Potomac, Kandi. We got to talk about it. All right, make sure you're coming into the video. You doing what you're supposed to do, which is liking up the video. Okay, make sure you're also subscribing to the channel, and also make sure that them notification bells is on. You understand? All right, cool. Let's go ahead and hop into this episode. I feel like this was another good episode for the most part over there with the ladies of Real Housewives of Potomac. So Ashley is confronting Stacey as we left off on the previous episode, where she's confronting her about Chris Samuels. For a lot of you guys that are not familiar, Chris Samuels is the now ex-husband to Monique Samuels, who was also a member, or shall I say a cast member, of Real Housewives of Potomac before she went on to go do her show over there on Love and Marriage DC, right? Well, and let's be very clear. We'll get into that again when that time comes. As far as Miss Monique referring to Real Housewives of Potomac is that other show, and now she done ran back to that other show. Okay. Anywho, a true reality fashion. That's what happens. Okay. People leave shows, they talk down on the shows, and then when they see the opportunity to come back and the need to utilize the coin, they return. All right. She ain't the first. She won't be the last. But let's get back into it. All right. So Stacey says that she adores her, some Chris Samuel. She thinks that he is a great guy. He's a great father. You know, he has a lot of great characteristics about him. And she also says they got a lot of friends in common. So why would she not know him? You know what I'm saying? And if you was a Chris Samuels and you saw a chick that looked like me, then honey, guess what? Right? She was saying that you would tell people that you're dating me too. And Angel says he's not like that, girl. Girl, he's not like that. Angel baby. Angel love. Angel girl. So she says that she knows Chris because he was one of the college, I guess, mentors or whatever. One of the colleges at once upon a time was recruiting her husband, and University of Alabama was one of them. That's the school that Chris went to or whatever. And they were trying to recruit him, and he ended up being a mentor to her husband. The thing that Let's keep going. She also pretty much mentioned that that's the extent of it. That's the key thing for me that she says in the confessional. That is the extent of it. When I hear that is the extent of it, I hear that is the extent of the relationship. That is the extent of the connection, right? We are familiar, or at least I'm familiar with Chris Samuels because at once upon a time he was a mentor to my husband. And let's be very clear, she also referenced this as if he is a current mentor of her husband. My thing is, from how Angel told this story in the beginning, she and her husband weren't even together at the time when he was in college. I believe he was trying to holler at her, trying to get at her, but it took him to go to the NFL or whatever at once upon a time for them to even start dating. So for you to reference, from what my understanding, right? So for you to reference this situation, like, oh, he was a mentor for my husband when he was trying to get in, as if you were there, is kind of like a little cringe. And then also for you to use it as if this is a current thing that is happening, as if he's a mentor for your husband, is also a bit sketchy. I'm sure you may be familiar with him because of Real Housewives of Potomac. You've seen him on the show. You understanding that he was in the NFL and stuff like that. But unless they come on and let us know that they've been having active communication with each other, how do you know exactly how Chris Samuels really is? When that is the extent of it, based on what you said, and based on the extent of it was that Chris served as a mentor to your husband while his particular college was trying to recruit your husband for the team. That does not add up, Angel. And as much as a lot of us may say, oh, you look bad because you're running up behind Kay. No, for me, I think that you're looking bad because of your own self. And the things that you're saying, and some of the things that you're saying in the confessionals aren't lining up with the things that's been recorded on the show. And it's not a good look. It's not a good look. It just does not look good. Do I think that you should be off the show? No, I don't. Not yet. I just feel like Angel is just still trying to get comfortable with being on a show, being around these group of ladies, being on a show, and how editing works and all of that. Um, but then again, she could have another season and still show up the same way. So I don't know. It must be two sides, because that's what it's looking like. Okay. I cringe so bad because I thought Angel was gonna do so well. Um, I cringe. And it's really the fact that you said to the extent of it for me, because girl, your husband hasn't even been in college for over 5 years, it appears. So I'm confused on the connection. Yeah. Anyway, so Ashley is demanding answers from Stacy when it comes down to Chris, and I just feel like Ashley, that's none of your business, and you're not owed that. No, 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 no. You're not owed that. Okay? If your source has already come to you and told you what the situation is between me and Chris, then believe your source, because you're going to do that anyway, because that's just how you are. I don't owe you an explanation. I've already told you, girl, I'm back with my husband. So if I'm back with my husband and we good, all that other stuff you're talking about is a non-factor to me. Okay? What else is going on? Right? And then I believe someone asked her, I believe it was Gizelle, that was like, "Hey, have you ever met Monique?" And she was like, "No, I've never met this lady in my life." Okay. But I guess that's y'all's friend, right? And they're like, "Yeah." Right. Well, I don't think Giselle said yes, but I believe that Ashley did say, yeah, that's their friend. I can't recall. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Ashley, you're coming at Stacy as if, number one, she's messing with your husband, which is not the case. Number two, as if as if, I'm sorry, not Giselle, but as if Monique and Chris are still together, and they're not. I can see if that was that lady's husband and she trying to talk to that lady's husband, but they're not. They're divorced now. So I don't feel like she owes you nor Monique, honestly, a woman that she does not know, an explanation about that. Oops. What you know? Ashley got to do what she got to do to get her check, honey. So we're going to let Ashley do what she has to do. Right? So Stacy says she's never met this woman. She says that, y'all want me so bad to be somebody else. Like, and y'all can't accept me for who the hell I am. And that's really unbelievable. Then you have Angel, who says, I can relate, girl. I can relate to that, Stacy. Huh? I really don't feel like people have really come at Angel like that, aside from the fact that they've called you out on your stuff. You show one thing, and it's happening so much, it's crazy. Because when you were with a group of ladies, oh, if she said that, it's going to be a problem. You learned that she did say it and it wasn't a problem, and they called you out for how you're showing up today is different than how you showed up the other day. And then before this episode is over, we're seeing you show up one way that night and then wake up the next morning with a completely different type of attitude, and everybody's just confused. But, and I will give her a little grace of saying that, sometimes when you know how a person may say something, they may get fly with you, and you don't even know at the moment that they shaded you, and then later on you think about it and you're like, did she shade me? And stuff like that happens, right? You'll sleep on stuff, and then you'll be reminded, you'll get, you'll get upset. But how it's playing out on the show, it is showing that you were past the situation. And after talking to Kay, because Kay felt the way about it, it made you feel like you should feel a way about it. And we're right back at square one. So I don't know. I'm feeling mixed. I feel like it's a little mixed on that for me, but let's keep going. Right. So back at the villa, it's time for them to celebrate for Wendy. They get back to the villa, they sing happy birthday to Wendy. I believe Kay stayed around for the happy birthday song, but eventually she did go to bed, right? I didn't really fault Kay. And I'm removing the situations, because at some point Kay does go on to talk about the reasons as to why she went to bed. And it was some things with the ladies that she just couldn't deal with, as far as her issues with Jazzy, Wendy, how Angel was being treated. I honestly think that, in my personal, I think Kay was looking, I truly believe Kay was looking for Angel to retreat back to the room with her, especially after everything was all said and done. What happened? Angel goes and looks for Kay at some point, right? I think she was expecting her homegirl to follow up behind her, and she didn't. And Kay, I thought you were supposed to be in the bed. But this is where I don't fault Kay. Let's remove some of the issues with the ladies out, right? I personally will be wanting to take a break myself. I need my own space. I need to go back to my room. I need to retreat. It's been a long day. Okay. Because I believe it has this been the day that they flew in, right? They got there. It's time for them to go and, have dinner right after getting off the plane and stuff. I think all of this may be happening in the same day, where it was a lot of travel. Y'all got dinner that night. Girl, I'm tapped out. I'm tapped out. My energy has reached its capacity. I need to go to my room. I need to, because then y'all really not gonna like me. I'm gonna need to go back to my room. So I don't really fault her for wanting to go back to her room in that moment. You know, it only would have got worse. But let's keep going because Ashley asked Wendy if she's been attracted to any woman ever in her life. And she said, yeah, it was a stripper. The stripper had braces, and I don't know why I found that to be so attractive, but she was so gorgeous, right? And Tia, who's so excited because Tia needs somebody. Tia needs some woman to find interest, attractiveness, and smack her on the bum bum. She needs somebody to do that immediately before this season is out. Okay. So Tia says that, she wanted somebody to ask her the same question, or at least she wanted Ashley to ask her what she just asked Wendy, because she has a crush on Rachel Maddow, the news anchor. I'm like, girl, no, you didn't. No, you didn't put it out there. Some of that lady can give you a call. And she said, I'm just playing. I said, no, I believe you. I believe if Rachel gave you a call right now, you'll be flying out for dinner. Think it's a game. Think it's a game. That's what I believe. Okay. Now, Ashley asked Jassy if Darius is, still cheating on her, basically. Right. And Jassy says, now, no. In the past, yeah. Right. She says, that's pretty much what was going on. Now, I don't know. Because Jassy's story to me is still slightly confusing. I probably would have to go back and watch my own videos or watch her interview, and even the baby mamas, because it was overlap, but they didn't really know about each other, it seems. Right? And maybe they did, but it was like when she was off with Darius, he was on with the baby mama. And then when he was fading out with the baby mama, he was getting back with Jazzy. And from Jazzy's understanding, she's thinking everything is done with the baby mama and he's just parenting his kids. So I am confusion, but at the end of the day, she's saying as of right now, everything is good. Of course, they're in counseling, and also the fact that he's not cheating. So I mean, until something else happened. All right. My thing with Ashley said in the confessional, like, oh, if she's happy, then I love it. It was kind of awkward how she said that. Like, you don't believe her. You don't believe he's a faithful man. And if she's happy, I love it. And what irritates me sometimes is people go through their own issues. And I feel like you stayed. Like, it was something about how Ashley stayed there where it's like, well, you should be able to relate to how she's feeling, right? Because Michael has cheated on you a number of times, it appears, and you still stayed in it. So if she's happy, I love it. It's like for you to even say, if she's happy, I love it. It was a tone of, couldn't be me. That's what I got from it. If she's happy, I love it. Couldn't be me type of thing. And it's like, but it was you. So why not just say, I completely understand where Jassy is. In my marriage, I had trials and things like that. Continue to move forward, stay in my marriage for a little longer, thinking we can work it out. So I wish all the best to Jassy, and hopefully they can figure it out. And hopefully Darius can move forward with being completely faithful in this part of the relationship, right? But Ashley, I have to always remember, girl, who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Miss Darby. I have to remember who I'm talking about. Sheila's daughter. Let's keep going. So Angel says that, when somebody asks, like, if you could kill somebody right now, who would it be? Angel says, I'll kill Gizelle. Because, girl, I was trying to be nice with you. I was trying to be nice to you. I was trying to hook you up with somebody. I had somebody in the stash for you. Whole time you got a man already. Be clear about that. Okay? But you tried to comfort me and say that I was catfishing. Yeah. I ought to kill your little fake angel. It's right now. Okay? I ought to snap your neck. So everybody starts, laughing or whatever. Angel is seeming to open up more. They're like, well, since Kay left, we feel like you opening up more. Once everything was over, and Gizelle like, okay, y'all gotta go. I gotta kick y'all out. Okay. I've had enough of the party. This was cute. Good night. Goodbye. And Wendy reaches for Angel and gives her a hug. I thought that moment, honestly, for me, was genuine. And I thought that was a really cute moment between the ladies. I did. I said, okay. Okay, okay. I like this. I like this. I like this. I'm not mad at it. I like it, right? And Angel welcomed that hug. Not only did she hug her, she also at some point hugged Gizelle before it was all over with as well. Okay. And then, I don't really like how Angel showed up the next morning, but at the same time, just because a person the night before extends a hug to you does not mean that they are fully over what you just did to them an hour or so ago, right? So sometimes with further thought, you could get in your feelings about it, right? It just seems like to us, or at least to me, as I'm watching it, your switch up in emotions was heavily motivated by Kay than it was motivated by yourself. Just like sometimes people will allow fan bases, whether it's a reality show, music, whatever, to decide how they should feel about a situation because they're mad. It makes you feel like, dang, they so mad, I'm not mad enough. Maybe I should be upset about this because obviously they're upset. And you know what? They have a point over here and you have a point right there. How do you genuinely really feel about it? Okay. How do you really feel about it? You don't show up like you have to perform in a sense. Like, I want to perform and show that I'm upset, be to show up like I'm mad about it too. If that's not how you genuinely feel, right? I need to show up and be upset about it because Kay is upset. So therefore, if she's upset about it, then I gotta be upset about it because it was about me. Like, how do you really sit with it and really like how do you really feel? And if at the end of the day you are upset, fine, address it. And if it's like, it really wasn't even that big of a deal, but I'm gonna get that back. We see each other. That's fine too, in my personal. But let's keep going because the next morning, of course, when everything is over, she's looking for well, I loved how they did this flashback, child, because they ended up doing a flashback. So Angel, the next morning, we see her sitting with Kay, talking with Kay, saying how disappointed she was in Gizelle. Gizelle eventually comes into the kitchen where they are and they talk it out or whatever. She sees automatically that Angel is crying and she's like, girl, you crying? And Angel said, yeah, I am. I am crying. And I'm not going to say Angel is weak for crying at all because I feel like we have feelings. We have feelings. At the end of the day, she has feelings. She didn't like what was said. Obviously she was more hurt than what she led on later that night, you know. And also what it took for me was me seeing that the reason she's really hurt, and I think she ended up saying it anyway, but I was thinking as soon as I saw her crying, I said, that is something that's very like that's the biggest insecurity that she has is how she looks in comparison to what she used to look like. And for somebody to highlight that she's made adjustments to her face, it may be something she was already thinking to herself. Like, I hope don't nobody say nothing about this, whatever. Ain't no telling. And Gizelle kind of called it out and it made her, hurt even more potentially. But you could tell that that was something that was already like an insecurity of hers that Gizelle brought to the front. And then when you have somebody else like Wendy that's overly laughing and all of this stuff, it's just like, hey, bro, chill, right? And I think sometimes people need to know, like, y'all be doing these jokes and stuff, but like it really hurts. Like, hello? It really hurts. Not just because you are a person, Gizelle, that likes to hold back your tears and you don't want to cry or show your tears all the time when you're hurt. It is what it is. But I do appreciate how when Gizelle saw that she was crying, she's like, oh my God. Like, I thought we was just cracking jokes because, I could play a lot. And I guess I played too much this time. But girl, like, no, it don't gotta be like that. No. Like, let's talk about this, right? I can appreciate her not giving Angel the cold shoulder, like I said what I said type of energy. Because we all know Gizelle can be a BIT. All right. So, anywho, Angel was upset with her. She lets her know that she was disappointed in her. Right. She tells Gizelle, I looked at you like you were a big sister. And not only with me looking at you like you're a big sister and me dealing with, this experience with the other ladies, I really feel like I'm fucked. Right? Because I guess she feels like a damned if I do, damned if I don't type of thing. And she's saying that at the very bottom, like, I wasn't expecting that to come from you, somebody that I looked at as a big sister, on top of the fact that you're a mama as well. Right? And for you to come for me like that, I don't like that. I give so much to my kids. In addition to me giving so much to my kids, like, it has contributed to me packing on the weight. I don't have the time to go out and do certain workout and do certain things or whatever. So with her not being able to do that, she's still able to like get into her zen moments, but maybe not diet how she wants to, work out how she wants to. Maybe she's still trying to figure out that balance as a mom, right? On top of dealing with her husband's career or whatever she got going on. And she lets her know, like, back in the day, I used to be a red carpet host and, my appearance was my currency. And the fact that she says that her appearance was once her currency, for me, definitely confirmed that her body is an insecurity for her. Her face does look a little different than what it once did because she now has the additional weight. When she takes photos, she doesn't look the same. She doesn't like, I don't think that she believes that she's an unattractive woman. I believe she definitely believes that. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. But it's still, we are always our harshest critics. So with that, she sees the changes and she don't like it. It was her currency at once upon a time, and I feel like it still is your currency. Really, your currency. I mean, it just looks, your appearance just looks different, but it's still your currency, and you don't look bad at all. But when she said that, it confirmed to me that that was a insecurity that she was having, and when Gizelle highlighted that, it really hurt. It really, really hurt her, especially in the way that they did it. So, she feels like she did it to be mean. And Gizelle says, well, no, I'm like, I feel like cracking jokes is being mean. And sometimes we may feel like, well, it was a lighthearted joke. Yeah, that's true, but we can't always tell a person how to react to a lighthearted joke, like it or not. So, anywho, she says that she feels like she did that to be mean. And Gizelle says no. She says, but I can relate to you. I can't remember being in your shoes when I was having kids back to back. I could definitely relate to that. Right. But also, Giselle's like, girl, what I had to say. First of all, I think that you're a beautiful woman. Make no mistakes about that, right? I think that you're a beautiful woman. I just felt like the filter that I saw was not the same woman that I'm seeing right now. But if I hurt your feelings, she said, I'm sorry. I apologize. She said she's sorry. She would love to give her a hug. Angel said, I'm good right now, girl. I'm okay. Like, you ain't got to put your hands. Don't put your hands on me. Don't put your hands on me. Go on. I'm going to be all right. I will be okay. Right. So Angel thinks the combo um is a bit shallow, is what she says. Cause she's like, my looks don't affect nobody but me. And my husband likes it. And then goes on to highlight the fact that she has a husband. And I'm like, okay, well, y'all let me know y'all thoughts about that. Is having a husband much of a bragging right? Or would it be I have a good one? I don't know. I don't know. Y'all let me know. I don't know. But that's what she wanted to highlight. But Gizelle did say what I really wanted to get to was the fact that Gizelle was like, I'm not body shaming you. Like, what I had to say, like, she came to me about her appearance and her currency, being her appearance being her currency at once upon a time, but I wasn't coming for your overall appearance, like your body, right? I was just coming for the filter on your face. That was it. And now I'm a bit confused because I feel like you're putting off onto me as if I was body shaming your entire body when one, I wasn't doing that. And then two, you over here acting like you don't want me to hug you, but then last night you was cool with me hugging you. So I'm just so like, what, 1 minute you want me to hug you, 1 minute you don't. And I ain't gonna lie, I was like, I'm kind of glad Gizelle clocked that. I feel like it's just another highlight of the flip floppiness for me. Like, you are leaving the ladies in a place of confusion. Like, the ladies is a piece of confusion. Now, when the ladies are outside, I believe that when Gizelle came out there, she talked to Kay, told her everything. She apologized to her, whatever. Kay and Ashley go and they sit on their own. And Kay lets Ashley know that, she didn't like the insensitive jokes that were made towards Angel. She felt like it wasn't cool. On top of that, she had her issues with Wendy. And then she had Jazzy coming for her. She said it just made her not really want to hang out with the ladies and celebrate no birthday. Right. And for me, I feel like I understand where Jazzy coming from. Because even if you didn't have all of those issues, it's just the day. It's a long day. It's a lot going on. My energy has been depleted, girl. I really don't have the time to stay up with y'all. But when you couple it with these things, like she done pissed me off, y'all doing too much over here. Like, girl, I'm going to my room. I'll catch y'all later. I can't even be mad at her about that. Now, Wendy says that she's realizing that Kay is showing herself to not be her friend at the end of the day. And she also feels like it's the same two ladies that's pretty much being Debbie Downers. Okay, so she wants them to get it together. We shall see. Right? Angel says that, she talked to her husband. And when she talked to her husband, he was ready to hop on a jet. And wanted to make sure she put emphasis on private jet. He wanted to hop on one. Because he don't play about her. Okay. Hop on that jet, honey. Come get me. Hell, that ain't no different than really Lisa calling her husband. On Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Lisa called John and told him, come pick me up, baby. Get me the hell up off this boat. These hoes done tried me for the last time. I have to go. Come get me, John. Promise me you gonna come get me. Girl, don't get me to hollering about Lisa. Ooh, don't get me hollering about Lisa and them ladies over there on Salt Lake City because they are a kiki, a cackle, and everything else in between. Okay. Anywho, so her husband was on the FaceTime talking to her, and he's confused because he's like, she almost 60. And she over here talking about a Photoshop. Like, let's go in their archives and see the difference between then and now. How about that? And I said, the fact that he highlighted Photoshop confirms to me that Angel's photos were Photoshop. And I know it's different. To me, I feel like it's a little different than a filter. And I know a lot of you guys are going to feel like, well, it's still all the same. It ain't her authentic face. Yeah, true. But I feel like this is where people play semantics when she was like, oh, that photo was not a filter. Right. It wasn't a filter because it was a Photoshop and you may have did a little tweak here, tweak there. Whereas with some of the filters I feel the housewives use, I feel like it's a literal filter like IG. You use your IG filters, you tap on this one and it'll just change your whole look, right? It may add lashes, it may add whatever. May add makeup, like it just slaps on a new little thing for you. Whereas with her, she probably just tweaked and just smoothed this out and did a little whoop, 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 whoop. Right? So I said, yeah, that's why they said that it was Photoshopped the whole time. But anywho, they go to this Hamilton house where they learn about Alexander Hamilton, who died in a duel. It was supposed to be a friendly duel, but I guess the person that was dueling him really didn't like his ass, okay? And he didn't know that. And Wendy said, that's how I go. She used this opportunity to highlight how friends will stab you in the back and shoot you in the face. I couldn't help but laugh because I said, now see how far people will take it to relate it back to their situations. And Jassy is just like, girl, don't be passive, honey. Be very clear. If you ain't gonna put it on the floor, then keep it up there. Okay? Keep it up there with you. Now, Jazzy, Tia, and Angel do talk, and this is where my girl Jazzy should receive her flute. Y'all don't have to like her. I like Jazzy. Until I don't like her, I'm rocking with Jazzy, okay? I'm like, give this girl her flute, man. So, matter of fact, go over there and snatch Ashley Darby flute up. And get that flute to Miss Jassy, baby. So Tia, she's trying to show some understanding towards Angel and talk to her about what happened. And Jassy like, girl, wait a minute. Don't do that. Don't do that, love, because don't act like you wasn't just sitting up here, talking about how you too noticed the filters as well, because that's what you said. You noticed it too, right? And Tia was like, yeah, I did. I said that, but I would not have addressed it the same way. That's all that I was saying. So Angel, that's when they cut to some other ladies. I think they checked on Wendy or something. And so Angel says that, when it comes down to her being a wag, she says she wasn't a wag because her husband played for 10 years. She was a wag because she was intentional and she put in the work. I really need y'all to hear this. She was intentional and she put in the work to get to know ladies younger than her or just the other wags, period. Then she goes on to say that she shall achieve that with these ladies too. And I'm like, why haven't you already started? If you have a history of doing that, why haven't you started already? And I feel like you approach them, and especially when you say younger ladies, right? I feel like you approach them on some type of, I don't want to say uppity, but I'll say uppity, or for lack of a better word, like you approach them on like a hierarchy type of status. Like, of course you're getting to know them because you may feel like you're better than, or I've been here longer than you. Whereas with these ladies, you're not entering a group where your man's stats are going to be impressive to them. They got their own, they doing their own thing. You're entering a group that has already been established versus being the other person coming into a group that's already been established. Y'all see what I'm saying? To me. So Angel says, that she's going to try to get to know the ladies better. We going to see if she brings that. I don't know. I don't know, Angel. I just think that all that impressing that you may have done with others, you thought it would happen with these ladies, and I guess they not as impressed as you expected them to be, right? But anywho, Jazzy just lets her know, like, girl, you were so bubbly and everything all last night. Like, what happened? Because when you get with Kay, it's a little, you act a little different. Your vibe is off. And Angel says, well, I wasn't bubbly. What you saw was me being annoyed. And if you know me better, you would have known that. So Jassie's like, girl, huh? Jassie's reaction for me had to be everybody else's because I was with Jassie like, girl, what? Jassie says, so you were annoyed when you was giving us high fives and hugs? Okay. Like, like what? Like when did things change? And that's when they did the flashback, y'all. They flashed back to after that, she went looking for Keiarna. She found her because I thought Keiarna would have been in the bed asleep, right? No. They found her, and that's when Keiarna starts telling her about her issues and why she couldn't really rock with the ladies because of how they were treating Angel and this and that or whatever. And Angel's like, yeah, I'm cool on everybody but you. You're cool on everybody but them, but you're still trying to be in good graces with everybody. Angel, do you know that you're being recorded, baby? Angel, let me tell you something. Don't, even though I do feel like you're not having such a great season and we're only 5 episodes in so far, and that could change. You may end up having a good season. Don't let our thoughts and opinions of you change from you wanting to come back to the show. Like, I think you should redeem yourself, come back another season if they invite you. I don't know. They might give you the same treatment as they gave the other young lady. I can't think of her name at this time. Ineka. That's what I'm thinking about. They might give you the Ineka treatment. Possibly. Okay. Um, but if they give you another opportunity and it's up to you to decide on whether you're gonna come back, I think you should return. And after you've gotten your feet wet and you're seeing how things are going, maybe it'll be a different outcome, right? But right now, every time I see her, I'm like, do you not know that you're being recorded? And I have to remind myself that, like, well, she is new to this, right? She's new. She don't know how editing is going to work. She doesn't know what they're going to show, what they're not going to show. So then it leaves me to believe that you're operating in your authentic self, and it's very questionable. All right. For me. Now, I'm still slightly rooting for you, girl. So we're going to pull it together. Next thing you know, we got the CGC versus the PPP. Okay. And that's Curly Girl Collective and the Pussy Pink Palace. Or is it Pink Pussy Palace? Whichever one was a crazy name for those ladies. But anywho, Wendy of the CGC decides that she was gonna call out Ashley from the Triple P for sitting over here trying to save Gizelle after Stacy called her out about dating. And Ashley says, she says that Stacy was pretty much pointing the finger at Gizelle. And Stacy said, "You mean like how y'all been pointing the finger at me this whole time?" I said, "I know that's right, Stacy. I know that's right, girl." Okay. Ashley said, well, you be lying. And she like, well, hell, Gizelle be lying too, because Gizelle the one that got a man. Right? And Giselle's like, well, I'm dating or whatever the case is, like it ain't her man or whatever. All in all, Wendy decides to take the focus or the control of the conversation to ask more about this Sean guy. Right? So she kind of makes Gizelle open up. And I can appreciate Gizelle sitting there opening up until she asked her about sex. And she was like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. That ain't none of your business. Right? And at some point, with Gizelle opening up about this connection with Sean, who she appears to really, really like, right? She calls Gizelle a friend. This is what Wendy does, calls Gizelle a friend. And I was like, oh, friend now. Right? And she says, I know that you're a person that keeps your heart very close. You like to protect your heart, but I just want to let you know from what I do know of you and getting closer to you, I am so happy for you. And you could tell it was a really genuine moment between the two. I know some people are going to feel like, oh, Wendy couldn't wait to be friends with Gizelle. She couldn't wait to get on Gizelle's side and this and that. Let me tell you something. I'm just glad that they're moving forward. I'm just glad that they're moving forward, whatever issues they got, right? And they're cool in this moment. And I'm cool with it. And you could tell that Gizelle has gained some form of likeness towards Wendy, in my opinion, because I do feel like when Robyn and Gizelle talked about the situation with Wendy and these charges, I feel like Gizelle tried to handle it a slight bit more delicately, right, than Robyn, because Robyn didn't give a damn. And I think Robyn still does not like Wendy. Okay. But there's that. But, once Wendy says this to Gizelle, of course, Gizelle feels like, well, yeah, you know what? That was nice, girl. You know what? I think we are friends. Well, I thought you had called her friend first a while ago, but y'all are friends. Good for y'all. Now, Angel says that Bobby sent her about $5K to shop with. She wanted to let the ladies know my husband gave me some money. Okay. And Gizelle is like, oh, okay. Well, you keep telling us what Bobby does, what Bobby does, what Bobby does. What do you do? And listen, I know some people gonna be ready to tear Gizelle a new one. Like, you ain't even got no man. You don't even got nobody to compare, or use his accolades like they are married. So what's his is hers. And I hear all of that, but at the same time, I kind of agree with Gizelle because I found myself thinking that in a previous episode. But yeah, girl, get your brag on. That's your man. You should be able to brag on him. Yeah, do your thing. He take care of me, girl. Shout out to the NFL. My man out here doing his thing. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I feel that, but also it's like, what you got going on? What's up? What you working on? What? Okay. Giselle says, we bad BITs because we got our own. I'm like, true. But also at the same time, y'all ain't got no husband. So as much as I agree with Giselle, like what you got going on, I have to go back and ask Giselle, what were you working on? And it's no disrespect, it's just a real question. What were you working on at the time that you were married to Jamal Bryant? Did you have your own at that time, or were you just merely being the first lady and okay with being the first lady? Right? What other accolades and things did you have? Because now that you're post marriage and you also have achieved your own success, now you can say, in my opinion, for lack of knowing a lot about you, that I got this and I got that and I got this and I got that. Right? So yeah, but also can I say this too? And now I'm defending Angel because I'm not on anybody's side. Also, I have to say, you brag about all the things that your man got, but what about you? But then when I think about Ashley Darby, I feel like that was her entrance into Real Housewives of Potomac anyway. Ashley was working for Michael. She worked for Michael. She got married to Michael at some point. I think she worked for Michael at one of his restaurants as like a waitress or a bartender or something. Somehow they connected, got married, and then she managed one of the restaurants. So a lot of Ashley's success was tied to what her husband had going on. So then it's also kind of like, well, why is it okay for Ashley to diddy bop, not have much of her own storyline? Okay, giving no seasoning. Why is it okay for Ashley Darby to do that? But then when Angel does that, it's an issue. Although I would like to know more about what Angel got going on, right? But I think that Angel, I'm just interested in knowing more about Angel. That's basically what I want to say, like getting down to it, because I think her identity is wrapped up right now in being soul mommy, and I don't think anything is wrong with that. But what else? What are some other things that you want to do? Some things that you want to work on? What are some of your dreams? And I think maybe some of these ladies will learn that if they sat down and maybe that's what Angel was saying, ask her those questions, right? Because they probably is getting tired of hearing, oh yeah, he played, 10 years in this role and he did that and my husband whoop de whoop. And yeah, he went to college over here, but nobody's hearing what college you went to. We did hear that you went to the same college as Wendy. What we have not heard and confirmed just yet is whether she graduated, right? And I want to believe that she did if she's out here doing red carpet stuff. But at the same time, you don't need a degree in, broadcast journalism to go out here and get on the red carpets and do what you do. So I don't know. But I'm interested in seeing what else, is Angel working on, what else she got going on. Right. I know she did the sound bowls and stuff. She has the sound bowls. Um, or whatever that retreat thing that she was doing. And collectively, I think they had a ranch or something like that, she was saying. So maybe she got her own stuff, right? But yeah, so I have to defend Angel slightly on that. But I also understand where Gizelle is coming from too, because every time we look up, it's my husband this, my husband that, my husband da da da, versus what you're working on, right? But again, for me, ain't too far off from how Ashley X was, okay? I mean, and if we be technical, just a little piece, I feel like that was a Monique Samuels too. We have 4 houses. Yeah, you have that by way of marriage, but all of it really was Chris's. And it wasn't until later on that she created her essential oil line, right? So it's about the same. Maybe that's a norm with the ladies. Okay, y'all leave y'all thoughts. I know y'all gonna do that anyway, cause it's just how y'all is saying it. Okay, so Tia meets we talk about Tia, right? So Gizelle directs the attention to Tia, asks her, does her husband travel with her a lot and stuff like that? And she's like, no, but I did meet him in London. I guess she was in a store looking for something. He said something to her. It was what it was, right? Now she says that she was naive to think that because they're both black, that there would not be any cultural differences. And now she's seeing that it's showing up more in their kids. Hilarious. I feel like it showed up before y'all even had children. But okay. But okay. I don't know what she thought. But I'm glad they're making it work though with these differences. So Angel lets her husband know it's going down when they get to the house. Okay. So she had to text him that SEX period. Like we're gonna get it in. And he said that may make another baby. She said, you know what, I don't care. We can have it. Listen, I'm here to have the baby, Sonny. Let's go. So that's what she's saying. And Stacey said, well, you know what? I should send that to my man. Let me send him SCX and see what he says. So he's like, she sends it. He's like, okay, you want sex? And she's like, yeah. So she sends him like a photo of herself. And then he's like, oh, I think you texting the wrong number. And that was so embarrassing to see, right? It was so embarrassing for him to play her out like that. But also at the same time, what I did think was they don't do this often. They can't do this because of how he responded. And you could hear that she said, maybe I should do that. The fact that she was like, maybe I should do that lets you know that she was trying something new. And her husband was like, you texting the wrong number. I feel like it was a joke though, although it still was embarrassing. I understand that it was a joke because he's like, you texting the wrong number because you don't usually talk like this. What's going on? What they then got into you down there on that island, right? So I got it. But Ashley could not wait to run and tell this information to Jazelle. And Stacey came down there and said, girl, stop talking about me. He was joking. Come on now. Angel asked if she's going to be on the menu later on that night. Because later on that night, they go out to eat or whatever. And the owner says he's going to cook for the ladies. And she's like, okay, that's great. That's great. But I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be on the menu tonight. Because I'm going to be ready for you on tonight. Understand? And so Kay was asked why she didn't, stay for Wendy's celebration. And she said she was tired. She was upset with one of her friends and stuff. And she said, I had to get up out of there. And Angel was asked about not having a good time last night because Jassy said, well, you told me that you had a good time. And then I'm hearing that you didn't have a good time or something. And she says, well, I slept on it. And when I woke up, I decided that I was pissed off all over again. Never mentioning the fact that she went over to Kay's room, talked to Kay about the issue, and that's when her issue reignited with Gizelle. Okay? Now, Tia says that if she's heavily filtered for herself, she said she wants somebody to tell her, when I tell y'all, Jazzy, come get your baddie flute. Jassy, come get your baddie flute, baby, because Jassy says you do. The way she wasted not even a frame of a second to tell this woman, you do. I think you do. I think it's a lot. I think you do filter yourself. I think you filter yourself a lot. It's a bit much for me. Yes, yes. And then Tia said, oh, I do. You think I do? Well, thank you for telling me that. I hollered. Hollered. I know Tia wanted to snap at Jassy, but she had to accept the fact that you just said you would want somebody to tell you, so she's telling you. Now, Kay tells Jassy that she was hurt for her to make that comment about her talking about Wendy, knowing the place that she and Wendy is in. I found that to be interesting because you didn't say that you were hurt with Jassy for lying on you about what was said about Wendy. You said that you were hurt about Jassy bringing that up, knowing where you and Wendy are in that place. So that confirms to me that during the time frame that Wendy is thinking that you're supposed to be her friend, you were talking shit about her. And you internalized a lot of her reactions and responses to seem as though she was being an op to you when the whole time you were being an op to her. You were the one that were developing these underlying feelings with Wendy when Wendy didn't even know what was going on. She's thinking y'all cool. Imagine being upset with your friend for whatever reason that you're creating in your own head. Meanwhile, she over here stressing about some dealing with her child's school. She over here stressing out about something one of the teachers said that her kid is doing or falling behind in, or whatever the case is. She's over here trying to figure out how she finna get this up off the ground and that up off the ground, and whatever she's dealing with has nothing to do with you. She's over here slightly battling some form of depression, got her own stuff going on. Even to everybody else, it may seem like she's the bomb and she's doing everything and she that girl. Whole time, that mindset is doing numbers on her ass. But you thinking that it's about you. I do not like people like that. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I need people to always consider the possibility that people have other things going on in their life aside from you. Aside from to be thinking about you all of the time. And when you got an issue, pull them to the side, say, hey, you good? Just want to check in with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna bring a situation to you. I think I could have been reading it wrong, and let them tell you what they going through instead of assuming that they got an issue with you. Like, it's just weird. It's weird stuff. And sometimes it could be that you're upset with something else happening in your life. And instead of you dealing with that thing, you want to redivert that energy somewhere else and make somebody else the issue, when the whole time you're avoiding the issue you already have going on. I don't like that. So you was talking about that lady, but we're gonna keep going. So Jassy says, how do you think I feel? You know, when it comes to me sharing intimate information or having an intimate conversation with you, right, about my life or whatever. Like, and then you putting it out there. Like, girl, I mean, it kind of makes me wonder, are you jealous? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know. It could be, could not be. Okay, because sometimes people will, if they think that you're beneath them, sometimes they would think that they're supposed to have things before you do. Right? Dang, she's over here getting engaged and married, and they ain't even been together that long or whatever. I've been with this man for 6 years and he has. So sometimes the comparison game, even if they appear to be doing very well for themselves, sometimes the comparison game will eat away at them and their securities. It will. So I mean, I don't know if Keiarna is jealous of Jassy, but it also doesn't mean that she's not jealous of her. Just because I don't know. I mean, she could be, she could not be. All right, but y'all leave y'all thoughts. I think they both got it going on. They're just in different lanes of their life in different places. But anywho, right? So Jassy says, you know, you lied. She said you lied. You said my man had 2 kids on me when he did it. Kay said, so was it 1 or was it 2? Was it 1 or was it 2? Jassy says, let's be factual. I said, well, what is the factual? Because I don't recall. Retell us. Right? And so I don't know. It seems like the babies, at least one of them, I think, could have been created during a break. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure because of the overlapping. I don't know what's going on. But the 2 babies are there, and that's just, you know, what it is. So Jassy says she regrets how she responded to Kay, but her response was based on how Kay was treating her. And Kay's like, well, what did I do? Tell me what I did or tell me what I said, and then I could be responsible. Because if you don't tell me, then I won't know. And I feel like what Jassy is talking about is, because first of all, Kay didn't like the fact that Jassy brought up what she said about Wendy on that boat after they were already having their issues. But Jassy only said that because earlier that day, when y'all were getting into it and Jassy tried to tell you that Wendy was being messy, you took a shot at her and said that she's a liar. What we can't do is be lying. Now, Jassy, you did throw the first punch because you did say to that lady that she's going through a lot with Greg, which resulted in Kay saying to you, right, don't speak on my man, because if you want to speak on me and you're about to marry one that had 2 kids on you. So if you want to talk about it, we could talk about it. So it was a response to what you said, but I don't know what else could have happened in that time frame. It was definitely given a tit for a tat. But y'all let me know if you know exactly what it is that Keiarna may have said or done to warrant for Jassy to be expecting an apology from her. All right. Leave your thoughts down below. That's all I got on Real Housewives of Potomac. Of course, I'm Jamie. That's me. Make sure you're liking up the video, subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye. I preach to the choir, stand with my feet to the fire.
give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters, I'm silent, nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification, them numbers hit like it's a proxy. Cashed out at the ATM, and the ATL, they done made a gym. I've been kicking doors like the ATF, got them trying to clone me like Agent Smith. Game time, I invaded gym, high elevated, I could face the rim. Putting shots up, I got laser focus, about to take it over, I'm Invader Zim. On a trip to Florida like it's A&M. Who that nigga, man, they say I'm him. Spit the truth, never wasting film, I can feel the pool